What if I told you that hidden within ancient Jewish text lies a mystical roadmap, a secret path to the heavens, where divine visions and celestial realms await those brave enough to ascend? Hello and welcome, brothers of the arcane, to the Dark Primordial. I'm your host, Ken Schroer, and the tradition of Merkabah Mysticism, or chariot mysticism, is one of the most enigmatic and awe-inspiring spiritual practices to emerge from the ancient world. At its core, it offers a glimpse into humanity's profound yearning to connect with the divine, to rise above the earthly plane and witness the infinite. The Merkabah is more than a chariot. It is a symbol of transcendence, a guide for the soul's journey through the mysteries of existence. Yet, this tradition was shrouded in secrecy, accessible only to the most devout and disciplined practitioners. It was a path fraught with peril, both spiritual and psychological. The text warned that those unprepared for the ascent risked losing not just their way, but their very essence. So why did they embark on this journey? What drove these mystics to confront the unknown, to seek what lies beyond the veil of reality? Light your incense, grab your favorite snack, and learn how the human spirit's insatiable quest for meaning, for connection, and for a glimpse of the divine led to the development of one of, if not the, most fascinating esoteric traditions born of ancient Judaism. The story begins during a turbulent period in Jewish history, the Babylonian exile of the 6th century BCE. Imagine Ezekiel, a prophet in exile, displaced from his homeland and grappling with the weight of his people's suffering. In the midst of this despair, a vision erupts, a scene so overwhelming in its scale and mystery that it shakes the foundation of spiritual understanding. Ezekiel describes a stormy wind emerging from the north, a direction traditionally associated with divine intervention in ancient Near Eastern thought. Within the storm is a great cloud engulfed in flashing fire, surrounded by a radiant brightness like polished metal. The scene is cinematic, teeming with energy and intensity, almost as if the heavens themselves are breaking open to reveal their secrets. The prophet is not merely a passive observer. He is a participant standing on the precipice of divine revelation. At the heart of this vision are the 4 living creatures, known later as the Hayot, each bearing 4 faces: human, lion, ox, and eagle. These faces have been interpreted in countless ways over the centuries. For some, they represent the 4 domains of creation: humanity, intellect, and governance; the lion, strength and courage; the ox, labor and patience; and the eagle, vision and swiftness. Others see them as a reflection of the 4 cardinal directions, or the integration of all aspects of creation into a harmonious whole. The chariot itself, or Merkabah, is unlike any earthly vehicle. Its wheels, described as wheels within wheels, and covered with eyes, convey omnidirectionality and omniscience. These wheels defy conventional understanding of motion, suggesting a realm where physical laws give way to spiritual truths. The eyes adorning the wheels further reinforce the notion of divine awareness, a presence that sees all and transcends time and space. Above this heavenly machinery is the likeness of a throne, a symbol of sovereignty and divine authority. Seated upon the throne is the likeness of a human figure, shrouded in fire and brilliance, a representation of the kavod, or glory of God. This figure is not directly described as God, but as an emanation, a radiance that veils the infinite from finite comprehension. For the mystics of later centuries, Ezekiel's vision was not merely a story. It was a template, a mystical roadmap for ascension. The chariot was not just a heavenly vehicle, it was a metaphysical concept, symbolizing the human soul's journey toward unity with the divine. The intricate descriptions of the chariot and its components became a source of meditative focus, inspiring rituals and visualizations aimed at transcending the material world. The vision also raises profound questions. What does it mean for a mortal to encounter the divine? Can the infinite be experienced by finite beings? Ezekiel's vision suggests that while the divine is ultimately ineffable, glimpses of it can be mediated through symbols and experiences that challenge the boundaries of understanding. This paradox of seeing without fully comprehending is central to the mystical tradition that grew around Ezekiel's chariot. The vision of the Merkabah is not just a historical artifact, but a living, breathing symbol that continues to inspire seekers across traditions. Its vivid imagery invites us to step into Ezekiel's sandals, to feel the awe, the fear, and the hope that accompanies an encounter with the numinous. It reminds us that even in times of exile, despair, and uncertainty, there exists a possibility of transcendence, a vision of unity and divine presence that can illuminate even the darkest of circumstances. The mystical journey described in Merkabah Mysticism is not for the faint-hearted. To the uninitiated, it may sound like a spiritual odyssey plucked from a fantastical epic, but for those immersed in its practice, it is a profound, rigorous quest for divine communion. Rooted in ancient Jewish texts such as the Hekkelot literature, this ascent unfolds as a symbolic and experiential passage through the seven heavens or palaces, each representing a higher level of consciousness, purity, and proximity to the divine. Imagine yourself as a mystic in antiquity, seated in meditation. Before embarking on this ascent, extensive preparation is required, far beyond casual prayer.
Practitioners subjected themselves to days of fasting to purify the body, intense meditation to still the mind, and the recitation of sacred hymns or divine names believed to resonate with the heavenly spheres.
Each name carried a specific vibration, acting as a key to unlock celestial gates. As the journey commences, the mystic visualizes the Merkabah chariot, with fiery wheels and angelic beings surrounding it, lifting the soul from earthly confines. This visualization is not merely imaginative, but deeply symbolic, bridging the material and spiritual realms. It is said that during this process, the mystic feels an inner shift, a loosening of the ego's grip, and an opening of the soul to infinite possibilities. The seven heavens are described as layers of reality, each more radiant and awe-inspiring than the last. As the mystic ascends, they encounter challenges that are as much internal as they are external. Each heaven is guarded by celestial beings, often described as fierce and otherworldly beings of light and fire, their countenances both mesmerizing and terrifying. These guardians are not mere gatekeepers. They are tests of the mystic's spiritual readiness. For the mystic to proceed, they must demonstrate purity of heart and precision of knowledge. Divine passwords, sacred words, and names of God must be pronounced with absolute accuracy. These are not just verbal utterances, but profound expressions of alignment with divine truth. A single misstep, whether in word or intent, could lead to dire consequences. One haunting warning from the Hekkelot Rabbati reminds us of the stakes.
If the adept is not worthy, the guardians of the seventh palace will burn him with fiery coals and cast his soul into the void.
This is not merely a spiritual metaphor. It underscores the gravity of tampering with forces beyond one's understanding. The journey through the heavens is not a casual pursuit, but an act of courage, discipline, and surrender to the divine. While the guardians represent external challenges, the real trial lies within. At each level, the mystic must confront their own fears, doubts, and attachments. These trials reflect the spiritual truth that ascent is not linear. It is a process of shedding layers of ego and illusion. The fiery beings and luminous gates are mirrors of the mystic's inner state, urging them to release anything that hinders their communion with the divine. This theme of transformation echoes across mystical traditions. The fire, symbolic of divine purification, consumes the impurities of the soul, leaving behind only what is eternal and unchanging. The mystic emerges from each heaven lighter, freer and closer to the essence of their being.
For those who persevere, the ascent culminates in the seventh heaven, described as the dwelling place of the divine presence, the kavod, or glory of God.
Here, words and symbols fall away, leaving the mystic in direct communion with a reality that transcends comprehension. In some texts, this experience is likened to being enveloped by a light so brilliant that it erases all sense of individuality. The mystic does not merely witness the divine, they become one with it. Time and space dissolve, and what remains is an overwhelming sense of unity, peace, and eternal truth. But this encounter is fleeting, for the human mind cannot fully contain the infinite. The mystic must return, descending through the heavens, transformed yet burdened with the impossible task of conveying the inexpressible. Their return to earthly life is often marked by a profound sense of mission, to share the wisdom gained and guide others on their own journeys of ascent. The structure of the seven heavens resonates with mystical frameworks across cultures. In Sufism, practitioners speak of ascending through spiritual stations, In early Christian mysticism, there are celestial hierarchies. In Hinduism, layers of consciousness unfold as seekers approach Brahman. These parallels suggest a shared human yearning to transcend the material and touch the divine. What sets Merkabah mysticism apart is its intricate roadmap and the emphasis on precise ritual and knowledge. The guardians, the divine names, the seven heavens, all are pieces of a puzzle that must be assembled with care and devotion. For those willing to undertake the journey, the rewards are unparalleled. A fleeting glimpse of the infinite and the knowledge that they have drawn closer to the divine mystery at the heart of existence.
At the heart of Merkabah mysticism lies the chariot, or Merkabah, an image as mysterious as it is profound. The chariot encapsulates the structure of the cosmos, reflecting divine order and harmony.
The chariot is not merely a vehicle in the conventional sense. It is a multidimensional symbol, one that carries layers of meaning for those daring enough to contemplate its mysteries. To understand the Merkabah is to step into a world where symbolism and spirituality merge, where every component of the chariot reflects profound truths about existence, divinity, and the soul's journey toward enlightenment. The chariot, described in Ezekiel's vision, is a dazzling, almost surreal construct.
Fiery wheels covered in eyes, angelic beings with multiple faces, and a throne shimmering with divine radiance.
At first glance, this imagery seems almost too complex to decode, yet, to the mystics, the Merkabah is a blueprint of creation. It encapsulates the structure of the cosmos, reflecting divine order and harmony. The four living creatures, or Hayot, are central to this symbolism. Their four faces, man, lion, ox, and eagle, are not arbitrary but represent the essential forces of the universe. The human face signifies intellect and reason. The lion, strength and courage, the ox, endurance and labor, and the eagle, vision and transcendence. Together, these faces embody a balance of qualities necessary for cosmic harmony. The wheels, described as wheels within wheels, symbolize a reality beyond linear time and space. Their omnidirectional movement reflects the boundless nature of divine presence, able to see, move, and act in all directions simultaneously. The eyes covering the wheels further emphasize this omniscience, a reminder that nothing escapes the gaze of the divine. While the Merkabah represents the cosmos, it also serves as a metaphor for the human soul. Just as the chariot is carried upward by the living creatures and fiery wheels, so too is the soul lifted toward the divine through spiritual practices and inner transformation. The fiery nature of the chariot speaks to the transformative power of divine presence. Fire in mystical traditions is a dual force. It destroys and purifies. The chariot's fire consumes impurities, symbolizing the trials the soul must endure to reach higher states of awareness. This theme of purification is echoed in the mystic's journey through the seven heavens, where each level requires shedding layers of ego and illusion. The throne atop the chariot, where the likeness of the divine rests, represents the ultimate destination of the soul's journey, union with God. This throne is not just a seat of authority, but a place of stillness and presence, symbolizing the soul's realization of its true nature. The mystics understood that this throne is not something external, but an inner state of divine awareness, a realization that the divine has always been within. The wheels of the chariot are perhaps its most enigmatic feature. Wheels within wheels, constantly in motion, suggest the cyclical nature of existence. Life, death, and rebirth are interconnected, with no clear beginning or end. This cyclical motion mirrors the journey of the soul, which must pass through cycles of learning and growth to ascend toward enlightenment. The eyes on the wheels amplify this theme, symbolizing the perpetual awareness required for spiritual growth. To ascend, the mystic must cultivate a state of heightened consciousness, seeing beyond surface appearances into the deeper truths of existence. The chariot's wheels remind us that the journey to the divine is not linear but spirals ever upward, requiring both patience and persistence. For the mystic, the Merkabah is a tool of integration, a symbol that unites the physical and spiritual realms, the individual and the divine. Its intricate structure teaches that the path to God is not a straight road, but a complex journey requiring balance, understanding, and surrender. The four creatures with their diverse faces represent not only cosmic forces, but also the inner aspects of the seeker. To ascend, the mystic must harmonize these qualities within themselves. Courage without wisdom leads to recklessness. Endurance without vision becomes stagnation. The chariot challenges the seeker to embrace all facets of their being, integrating them into a cohesive whole. At a deeper level, the chariot is also a reminder of the interconnectedness of all things. The creatures, wheels, fire, and throne are not separate entities but parts of a unified whole, each playing a vital role in the chariot's ascent. This unity reflects the mystic's ultimate realization that the self is not isolated but intrinsically connected to the divine and the cosmos. The symbolism of the Merkabah transcends Jewish mysticism, resonating with spiritual traditions across cultures. In Hinduism, the concept of the chakra system mirrors the idea of ascending through layers of being to reach divine union. In Hermeticism, the chariot is a recurring archetype, representing the soul's mastery over the material world. Even in modern psychology, the chariot can be seen as a metaphor for the integration of the conscious and unconscious mind. Each tradition adds its own nuance. Yet the core message remains: the chariot is a vehicle of transformation, guiding the seeker towards self-realization and unity with the divine. Even today, the Merkabah offers profound insights for those on a spiritual path. Its complexity reminds us that spiritual growth is not about shortcuts or instant gratification. The fiery trials, the omniscient wheels, the radiant throne, all point to the necessity of effort, courage, and surrender. In a world where distractions abound, the chariot invites us to focus inward, to harmonize our inner qualities, and to align ourselves with the greater order of existence. It challenges us to see beyond the material and glimpse the divine truths that lie just beneath the surface of reality. The Merkabah is not just a relic of ancient mysticism. It is a timeless symbol that continues to inspire and challenge. Whether seen as a literal vehicle for ascension or a metaphor for the soul's journey, the chariot calls us to rise above our limitations and embrace the infinite. It reminds us that the divine is not something we find out there, but something we uncover within, a radiant throne waiting at the center of our being. The mystical path of Merkabah practitioners was as much about preparation and discipline as it was about the ecstatic experience of encountering the divine. At its core, Merkabah mysticism is experiential. It seeks to transcend the boundaries of ordinary perception and plunge the mystic into the realms of the infinite. To achieve this, practitioners engaged in deeply esoteric practices, rituals designed to dissolve the barriers between the material and spiritual worlds. These practices are as intricate and mysterious as the vision of the chariot itself, demanding a level of focus, dedication, and inner purity rarely seen in other traditions. Before embarking on their spiritual ascent, mystics underwent rigorous preparation, transforming themselves into vessels capable of containing the divine. This was not a casual endeavor. It required immense dedication.
Fasting, for instance, was not just an act of physical purification, but a means of detaching from the material and tuning into the physical, a vital step in ascending to higher realms.
Meditation played a central role, acting as the doorway to altered states of consciousness. Mystics would enter prolonged periods of focused concentration, often visualizing the Merkabah chariot in intricate detail. These visualizations weren't mere flights of imagination. They were exercises in aligning one's mind with the divine structure of the cosmos. By visualizing the chariot, fiery wheels, and celestial beings, the practitioner would gradually attune to the rhythms of the divine realms. Central to Merkabah mysticism was the use of sacred names, specifically the names of God and the angels. These names were considered more than words. They were vibrations of divine energy, keys to unlocking the gates of the celestial palaces.
Chanting these names wasn't casual. It was a symphony of sacred frequencies that could propel the mystic into the heavens.
The use of divine names also reflected the mystic's understanding of the cosmos as a structured hierarchical system. Each name corresponded to a specific angel, gate, or realm, and knowing the correct sequence was akin to possessing a map of the divine. This was a form of spiritual navigation, ensuring the mystic could ascend safely through the heavens and reach the presence of God. One of the most fascinating aspects of Merkabah mysticism is its emphasis on altered states of consciousness. The mystics sought to transcend the limitations of ordinary awareness, entering states where the boundaries between self and divine, earthly and heavenly, began to blur. Prayer and chanting were foundational tools in achieving these states, but visualization played an equally critical role. Practitioners would imagine themselves traveling through the heavens on the Merkabah, surrounded by angelic beings, fiery wheels, and radiant light. These visualizations were immersive, engaging not just the mind, but the emotions and senses. The mystic was not merely imagining the journey, they were experiencing it. Some accounts suggest that these practices led to ecstatic experiences, moments where the mystic felt entirely enveloped by divine presence. In these states, the self dissolved, leaving only a profound sense of unity with the cosmos. These experiences were both awe-inspiring and terrifying, reflecting the dual nature of encountering the infinite. As the mystic ascended, they entered a series of celestial palaces, each representing a higher level of spiritual attainment. These palaces were described in vivid detail in the Hekkalot literature, with each level guarded by angelic beings. The guardians were not merely obstacles. They were tests, ensuring that only the worthy could proceed. To pass through the gates, the mystic needed more than spiritual purity. They required precise knowledge of divine passwords or seals. These were often encoded in the names of God, symbolic representations of spiritual truths. The process was exacting, requiring the mystic to remain fully present and attuned to the divine. The guardians themselves were described as awe-inspiring and fearsome, their fiery forms embodying both the power and purity of the divine. Facing them was an act of courage, a confrontation with the mystic's own limitations and fears. The guardians reflected the mystic's inner state, challenging them to overcome ego and embrace the divine. The ultimate goal of these practices was the direct encounter with the divine. At the highest level of the ascent, the mystic beheld the kavod, or glory of God. This experience was said to defy all description, transcending the boundaries of language and thought.
The kavod, or glory of God, was said to be a radiant light, brighter than anything in the earthly realm. A vision so overwhelming it could transform the mystic forever.
This moment of encounter was not just about witnessing the divine. It was about union, a merging of the finite self with the infinite. Yet this encounter was fleeting. The mystic could not remain in the presence of the divine for long, for the human mind and body could not fully contain the infinite. The return to earthly life was often bittersweet, marked by a profound sense of transformation, but also the challenge of conveying the inexpressible. The practices of Merkabah mysticism bear striking similarities to other mystical traditions. The chanting of divine names echoes the mantras of Hindu and Buddhist traditions, while the visualization of celestial realms parallels the meditative practices of Tibetan Buddhism. The emphasis on rigorous preparation and spiritual ascent can also be found in Sufi mysticism, where practitioners undergo intense training to experience unity with the divine. These parallels highlight the universal nature of the mystical quest, a journey to transcend the self, confront the infinite, and return transformed. While the specific practices of Merkabah mysticism may seem distant from modern life, their underlying principles remain profoundly relevant. The emphasis on inner transformation, disciplined practice, and direct experience of the divine speaks to timeless human aspirations. In a world dominated by distraction, the practices of Merkabah mysticism invite us to cultivate stillness, focus, and a deeper connection to the sacred. Whether through meditation, prayer, or other spiritual disciplines, we too can embark on a journey of ascent, seeking the light of divine truth that lies within. The mystics of the Merkabah tradition may belong to a bygone era, but their vision of spiritual ascent and divine encounter continues to ripple through history, influencing mystical thought, art, and philosophy across cultures and generations. While the explicit practice of Merkabah mysticism began to fade by the early medieval period, its essence did not vanish. It evolved, leaving an indelible mark on both Jewish spirituality and the broader tapestry of human consciousness. As Jewish mysticism matured, the legacy of the Merkabah tradition served as fertile ground for new mystical systems to grow. The rise of Kabbalah, beginning in the 12th and 13th centuries, built upon the foundations laid by the Merkabah mystics, while introducing profound new concepts, such as the Tree of Life and the 10 Sephirot, emanations of divine energy that structure both the cosmos and the human soul. Where Merkabah focused on the celestial ascent of the soul, Kabbalah turned inward, exploring the interplay between divine attributes and human action. Yet, echoes of the Merkabah tradition are unmistakable in Kabbalistic texts, especially in the emphasis on visionary experiences, the power of divine names, and the idea of ascending to unity with God. The chariot, though no longer the central focus, remains a symbol of transformation and transcendence.
The influence of Merkabah mysticism transcends its Jewish origins. In Christian mysticism, the vision of Ezekiel inspired theological reflections on divine glory and angelic hierarchies.
The chariot's imagery found its way into Renaissance art, where it became a symbol of divine order and the ascent of the soul. Similarly, in Islamic Sufism, themes of spiritual ascent and divine encounter resonate with the Merkabah tradition, particularly in the idea of navigating spiritual stations or veils to approach unity with God. Even in modern spiritual practices, the core themes of Merkabah mysticism, the disciplined pursuit of transcendence, the interplay of inner and outer realities, and the journey toward a fleeting glimpse of the infinite, continue to captivate seekers. Whether through meditation, mystical visualization, or philosophical inquiry, the Merkabah tradition invites us to ask, how can we ascend beyond the limits of the mundane and glimpse the divine? Perhaps the greatest legacy of Merkabah mysticism lies in the questions it compels us to confront. What does it mean to encounter the divine? Is such an experience purely individual, or does it reveal something universal about the human condition? For the mystics, the journey was as much about transformation as it was about the destination. The act of seeking, of preparing, ascending, and persevering was itself a form of divine communion. In this sense, the Merkabah serves as a mirror, reflecting our deepest spiritual longings and the paradoxes inherent in them. To seek God is to embrace mystery, to confront the limits of human understanding while daring to transcend them.
The chariot's fiery wheels, angelic beings, and radiant throne are not just symbols of the divine, but invitations to rise above the noise of the material world and attune ourselves to something greater. The mystics of the Merkabah tradition understood a profound truth. The journey to God is endless. To ascend is not to reach a final destination, but to step into a process of continuous transformation.
Each glimpse of the divine reveals both the infinite beauty of the cosmos and the infinite potential within the human soul. This idea that the journey itself is the point resonates across time and culture. It reminds us that spiritual growth is not about achieving perfection, but about striving, learning, and becoming. The chariot is not a static vehicle. It is alive, moving, and evolving, just as we are. In our modern world, where the pace of life often pulls us away from reflection and introspection, the Merkabah offers a counterpoint. It challenges us to pause, to prepare ourselves, and to embark on our own journeys of ascent. Whether we believe in the literal vision of Ezekiel or see it as a metaphor, the message remains clear. Within each of us lies the capacity to rise, to transcend, and to encounter the sacred. The final gift of Merkabah mysticism is its enduring invitation. It beckons us to step into the unknown, to confront the fears and illusions that hold us back, and to embrace the mystery of existence. It is a call to action, not to escape the world, but to see it through new eyes, illuminated by the divine light we glimpse along the way. The chariot's journey, after all, is not just about the heavens. It is about the transformation of the traveler. To gaze upon the divine is to risk everything, to confront the limits of our understanding, and emerge forever changed. In this way, the mystics of the Merkabah tradition remind us that the spiritual path is not a straight road, but a winding, fiery ascent, one that demands courage, discipline, and above all, an open heart. Whether we view the Merkabah as an ancient tradition or a timeless metaphor, its message is clear. The divine is not out of reach. It awaits those who are willing to prepare themselves, take the first step, and let the chariot carry them beyond the ordinary into the infinite.
Thanks for watching. If you found this video enlightening, please like, subscribe, and share with others who might also be interested in exploring the rich, awe-inspiring history of Jewish mysticism. Additionally, consider supporting the Dark Primordial by visiting our Etsy and Shopify stores. There you'll find a curated selection of handcrafted, witchcraft, and pagan accessories to enhance your own spiritual practice. From hand-poured candles to intricately painted talismans, each item is imbued with intention and power. Until next time, may you become one with your own abyss.